What is a technical report document, and what are some of the best practices when it comes to writing one? In this video, we're going to look at what a technical report is and how they're compiled into document form. My name is Josh, and I'm the founder of Technical Writer HQ, and I have over 10 years of technical writing experience putting together technical reports. And today we'll be talking about these technical reports, their components, and how to write one that provides value to readers. And if you're not familiar with this line of work, don't worry at all. That's what I'm here for. But before we dive in, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and that way you can get notified of all great technical writing content from real technical writing experts. Now let's go ahead and get started. So what is a technical report? So a technical report is a formal document that conveys technical information in a clear, easily understandable, and structured manner. It reports technical progress, explaining how far the research or practical work has progressed. It also details the results of the project while also laying out the findings. And depending on the scope of the project it's based on, it can also chronicle the entire technical process from start to finish, complete with all the stages or phases. And the scope also decides the components of the document, and some of which we'll go ahead and discuss in this video. There are several types of technical documents, which span multiple disciplines and industries. With that said, there are 6 basic document types that are very common in the mechanical and software development industry, and I'll be covering primarily those. And these ones are technical process reports that map out a technical progress, highlight the problems faced by the technicians and offer solutions, and give a step-by-step review of the process that they're based on. And we also have standard operating procedure manuals that provide a list of steps that users need to take to implement a procedure or access a product. There are evaluation and feasibility reports that compare multiple options according to a set of requirements, consider ideas in terms of their feasibility, and evaluate towards a goal, and judge how practical an idea is to implement. And you also have technical background reports that provide background and context of a technical topic for a specific set of readers who need that information. And there are also technical handbooks and guides that provide a set of guidelines for correct use of a product and or system. And the last one here is our technical specification documents that describe the components of a new or an updated product and explain how it operates. Depending on how extensive the project is, the document could consist of many sections, attachments, supporting documents, tail pieces, and more. However, almost every technical report has 11 sections as standard. These are the cover page, which is the face of the project. It will have details like the title, author's name, as well as the name of the company and its logo. And we have the title page, which adds on to the information on the cover page. It tells a reader about the current status of the project, or what stage the project is in. So for example, second progress report or final progress report. Then we have the abstract, which will give a clear and concise summary of the project. It's also called the executive summary. Next, the preface. This is in which the writer declares how all the progress related content of the report are original and that all the reference parts have been cited with due credit to the sources. The acknowledgement, which is where the writer mentions all the subject matter experts or SMEs, managers, and other technical personnel who help them compile the data for the report. Then we have the table of contents, which assigns each chapter and subchapter for easier navigation through the report. Then the introduction, which gives a brief overview of the contents of the document. And this is where the writer provides some context for the report, including its purpose, objectives, and the questions that the report will answer. And we have literature review, which looks at research and published content on the subject of the document. We also have design methodology and analysis, which talks about the specific approach taken when working on the project and how well that approach meets the objectives of the project. And the construction and results testing part, which gives details on the actual building or implementation of whatever the technical report document is about, and reports on the results from each iteration of the process testing. Then the conclusion, which closes the main body of the report and mentions the general findings of the project. And of course, you need appendices, which contain large data sets, complex mathematical formulas, figures, and tables. And all of these will be mentioned in the order in which they were used in the report. The references in which the writer cites the sources they took any data from. These could be technical or scientific journals, published papers, individuals, books, and wherever else the writer took data and research from. And last, we have the bibliography, which is similar to the references in that they mention all the written sources that the writer got inspiration from. The only difference between the two is that whatever the writer gained from the sources in the bibliography, it wasn't necessarily a part of the writer's technical research. Instead, it contributed more as a style guide or general knowledge base. And technical reports are meant to offer both a solution to a technical problem and to report on the progress of the solution process. They're what senior technical personnel or managers read to learn about how close they or their teams are to the solution and if any further efforts are needed to achieve the objectives. In terms of the real-world value, technical reports offer effective communication of details from the technical staff working on the project to the senior staff. They are proof that progress is being made towards the objective. And based on the complexity of the project, this progress is sometimes divided into milestones for which they are separate reports. And these documents help to consolidate all the relevant data into a single piece of writing and then present it in an organized manner. They're also a tool for the technical and performance-based evaluation of the team working on the task. And now that we understand what a technical report document is and contains, let's go ahead and look at some of the best practices you'll need to keep in mind while you're creating a technical report. Since these documents contain data and are often related to a process, you'll need to start with a top-down approach. So start with the skeleton of the doc, which means the section and subsection titles and headings, and you work your way into the main body of the content. While talking about the actual process, keep a progress-based delivery style. Write in a way that the content pieces or paragraph transitions naturally into the next paragraph or topic. All of it should sound like you are keeping track of the progress at each stage and you wrote it as if it was happening in real time. The entire document should have a well-defined structure. Earlier, when we went through the components of a technical report document, that sequence of components is actually how you should structure the report. Needless to say, you need to proofread the entire document thoroughly, multiple times if you can. The document is an evaluation of your abilities as a writer, so make sure to not give your managers any doubts. Here's an example of a structured technical report document. As you can see, each section is clearly defined and has plenty of space dedicated to it. You will come across many other ones, more elaborate examples of such documents, but this one is a good, simple, basic example of how to structure a report. You'll need to write with the correct formatting for this type of document. All the line structures, indents, fonts, and spacing needs need to be according to established document guidelines, as well as the company style guide that you may be working with. Finally, the entire document will be presented in a style that's not too cluttered and is easy to read. And single-sided printing on A4 size paper is usually the ideal presentation if you're printing it. If it's in PDF or any similar virtual format, it should again follow the print presentation guidelines. And here's an example of technical report document formatting. As you can see, each section has a clear space and doesn't look too muddled up. There are bullet points where the writer feels that the information is better delivered in a listicle style. Where it's needed, the writer has given the information line by line instead of using big chunky paragraphs. Overall, it's a very clean and clear layout. Now, formatting can make or break a technical document because the first thing people see is design. And if they don't like the design, then they simply won't read it. And these documents are often vital to high-level decision-making. So if someone doesn't read the document because they don't like the design, well, you got some big issues. And technical reports should be written in a formal tone with no informal language or slang, no matter how young the readers are. And you have to realize that this is a professional voice that's coming across, not necessarily a voice they can identify, but just a voice that puts the material in a clear and concise way. And it's always in third-person point of view since the writer is not an active participant in the process. The paragraphs are almost never connected with commas, and instead they're broken down to separate sentences to make it easier for the reader to follow. And there should be no passive voice used anywhere in the document. This is to sound more matter-of-fact and authoritative, like the writer knows what they're talking about. And hopefully you do know what you're talking about. Writers should always be careful to use the correct tenses for the situation. Plus, they should consider who they're writing for and use vocabulary that's easily understandable to that level of reader. Technical abbreviations are often very long and complex, even for people who understand the jargon. This is why writers need to avoid abbreviations whenever possible. Abbreviations can slow down the evaluation process and may cause confusion among less knowledgeable readers. So using the right list style is also important too. This will help break out your content in an easier way to digest. So use bulleted lists when you need to provide a list of pointers, and use a numbered list for points that are in a sequence. Maintain a similar font throughout the document to add some uniformity and make the text look cohesive. And to make it even easier for readers to grasp what you're telling them, go ahead and break the text up into smaller 1 or 2 line chunks at most. Writing a good technical report document is crucial. And to do this, you need to ask yourself, does the abstract summarize the content in a way that gives an accurate overview of what's to come as readers turn the pages? Does the conclusion answer the questions that came up during the process and methodology descriptions? And what are the implications of whatever the report found out about the process while researching or observing it? And does the reader take away everything that they initially needed to know from the report? If you have logical answers to all these questions, then the chances are you've done a great job with the report. And there you have it. We went over the definition of a technical report document, what it contains, its importance, and best practices of writing one. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to go ahead and like it, subscribe to our channel. And again, my name is Josh. I'm the founder of Technical Writer HQ. And if you're looking to up your game as a technical writer and write great technical reports, we have a course on Technical Writer HQ just for that. It's our technical writing certification course. And if you join it, you can also join us in the community and connect with lots of other technical writers. With that said, I wish you the best of luck in your career as a technical writer and writing technical reports. And I'll see you on some of our other videos. Cheers.